kitchen goes far beyond just keeping the tick of the knife on.
Yeah, Chef Keith Norman with Stop Foodborne Illness is here with quick tips to keep our kitchen clean. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
And this is what I've learned. I know many studies show that actually the room in the house that has the most germs, bacteria, is the kitchen over the bathroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, typically, I don't think the kitchen is cleaned as properly as it should be, so that's probably why your stats are way beyond.
Yeah, all right. So then, where do we want to start? With a bucket and a sponge, or?
Well, no.
We're talking about how we
Well,
deal with our.
typically in the kitchen, I like to use gloves. These are vinyl gloves that you can buy in the grocery store when handling chicken. So I think a couple of things are important when you're dealing with chicken. First thing is to have a calibrated thermometer in your, or have a thermometer in your kitchen.
Okay.
Hopefully it's calibrated. And then, again, when working with chicken, you want to have a couple of things. You can use over the counter, the wipes,
Clorox wipes for sure.
or the
So
soap.
you use gloves in the kitchen cooking by yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
I like it.
I wash my hands a lot as well, so if you don't like the feel of gloves on your hands, it's important to wash your hands properly.
Yes, all right.
And so again, when working with chicken, because it is one that you must always cook at 165 degrees, you want to make sure that once you've fabricated your chicken, that you use one of those items
To clean the surface.
to clean the surface.
Okay.
And chicken, for an example, I mean, it has to be cooked to a certain temperature as opposed to maybe a steak. Because the steak you can get away with not cooking it.
Correct. Chicken always to 165 degrees. If you're making meatloaf, ground beef, we want you to go to 160 degrees. If you're working with a steak because the bacteria will be on the outside of the surface, depends on how you like your steak. I like my steaks well done, but if you like your steaks rare, that's okay. Most of the bacteria will be killed.
And you know the temperature because of your calibrated
Yes, ma'am.
thermometer.
And we're talking about killing certain bacteria like salmonella.
Yes. Typically with chicken, salmonella is the one that you.
But even in vegetables, I mean, there's some bacteria, so you have to make sure to wash those properly as well.
Absolutely. I use a scratch pad because sometimes you have wax or paraffin on the outside, so I use a scratch pad and just plain.
So we're talking about keeping cross-contamination down. So I see you taking your gloves off. If you were going to handle something else, you would definitely take your gloves off, put on more gloves? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Clean my surfaces. Also, if you'd like to, at home you can use the different colors. But if you have these items at home, they work perfect.
Does the material of the cutting board make a difference? Because I know a lot of people use wooden cutting boards,
Which is
they don't want to
porous.
wash it.
Yeah.
For a chef, wood is great because it protects our knives. But there's a lot of acrylic or hard plastic, which we use in the restaurant setting, that you can use at home. I love wood because it's nice. It's kind to my knives.
So if you were to clean it, then how would you go about doing that?
Well, if I'm using the wipes, if it's on the surface, same thing. Just simply wipe it off. Now, if you don't use the wipes and you don't have these at home, Clorox in water works just fine. Or if you're going to use a spray over the counter, which is fine as well.
So make sure it says antibacterial.
Well, I like the word Clorox, but yes,
Okay.
that's I like Clorox because that's
Very
great.
specific.
You
Yeah.
bet. You bet.
And do you have to wait a certain amount of time before then putting another meat or another product on them?
Well, typically I wouldn't have dried my surface. Just let it air dry.
We want to thank you so much for coming. There's more information about how to be safe in the kitchen on our website. And let me ask you this: you like coffee?
No.
Oh. Well, I do. You weren't supposed to say that. Well, coming up, my Do You segment will fill your cup with the perfect brew for those of us coffee lovers. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.